FTTH layer, but what I'm trying to tell you is like, you can be the near live streaming, right? It may not be at the same instance, but you can bring that, type of a solution using the cloud, because it is static. You need to first encode your video into one format and store it, right? It's a time, like, you just take 1 second, 2 seconds. That stream has to be stored. That gets distributed via your cloud front. Then your client is going to download and, going to do it. Possibly, we can come up with something, but at the top, I don't see this use case doing a live streaming on the cloud is going to be possible.
Yeah, I have a slightly different kind of question for everyone in the panel. How does all these cloud and other very interesting technologies relate to the man in the street? How is cloud relevant, cloud or cloud computing relevant to the Aam Aadmi is my question. The basis of that question, or the origin of this question, is like in one other event, there was a person sharing about the National Unique ID project. And one of the things they do to eliminate corruption in this is to go through every record and try to do duplicate elimination. So if you have to do duplicate elimination, all the 500, crores of IDs are to be checked with every other ID available and do the elimination of duplicates. So there is so much of information processing that is relevant even to root out some kind of duplicates and corruption and the related corruption in the ID project. The ID project's one of the key aim is to root out corruption and make the benefits go directly to the right people. So like that, there are many, many use cases in which cloud computing can really disrupt the way the governance and other kinds of things that are going to happen. So how does cloud computing relate to the Aam Aadmi? How does it solve poverty and other kinds of real problems?
I think that's a real great question. And in fact, incidentally, when I was attending the IIT event today morning, there is a company which does microfinance, Jay Lakshmi. Yeah, Jay Lakshmi. They do Dhanalakshmi, right? Okay, they do microfinance, and interestingly, they use cloud as the infrastructure to basically reach the last mile in any form. Could be your SMS, could be your email. So to directly translate that to your question, yes, cloud is already started helping in that paradigm, right? Apart from that, like whatever you said from a technology standpoint, right? To solve this, there are two areas. One is your business proposition, then the technology, right? Like in fact, 8K miles, he asked for a replacement for MapReduce. Right? So I'm saying, those technologies have to be either the MapReduce or, any, sorry, not MapReduce, Hadoop, right? You ask for a replacement, different thing for a Hadoop, right? So those technologies also involved here to basically embrace the cloud as a, technology to solve the big problem that you're talking about. So in that case, yes, it has already started solving. That's my...
So, I think cloud, in a way, is ideal thing for not directly solving poverty kind of stuff, but most of the bottom of the pyramid problems are solved by economies of scale, right? Cloud computing gives you that. It gives you the amortization of the cost over the entire consumers. And as the number of consumers increase, your cost decreases. So because of cloud computing, I think you can reduce the prices and then services, and you can reach even the Aam Aadmi is one thing which you...
Actually, every technology which comes in actually solves a bigger problem. And finally, that problem getting smaller and smaller actually addresses an Aam Aadmi or a common man or anyone. When Henry Ford found the assembly line, everyone was actually having, only the rich people had cars. And that technology actually solved a bigger problem and provided a solution such that everybody can actually own a car. Everybody can at least dream of a car. So that's what happened. And cloud technology is solving one thing, making entrepreneurs out of guys who can actually just go ahead and pay as you go and start up a service or start up a solution or solve a smaller or a bigger problem, whatever they want to. Even Twitter is a software as a service. It was just solving a small problem, just sharing their status updates and something. Now it's turning out to be a revolutionary change in how we share our information, how we share our news, what all happening to us and everything. So that kind of ability is provided by the cloud technology such that everybody can actually start up something when they dream about something, because we all have dreams, like we all have ideas, we all have things which can solve problems. We are just stuck up on something like in the financial level or in the time level or something. This can actually turn around those guys into innovators, into guys who solve little or big problems, which can actually contribute to what the common man can expect. So any technology does it. Cloud technology is obviously more suited for it because it's cost effective first.
Okay. Let me not give a direct example of somebody coming and solving poverty, but I can think of cases where indirect implication on your daily life, like you go and search for a book or you go and search for something else. You see a book and at the bottom of the page you say something like, people who bought this also. It's a small recommendation that comes at the bottom of the page. So that's that simple information that you see, which actually can make a decision for you. Okay, so that is driven out of massive amount of data that gets processed behind the scenes. You're thinking about millions of people using the website and making decisions, and there's one algorithm that is running at the behind the scenes, which decides people who bought this. There's a huge graph behind the scenes. So that small thing can actually drive you in deciding something. If you look about like in Facebook, I have 203 friends. My friend also liked this. My friend's friend also liked this. It's a huge graph behind the scenes. It's a small thing that you see. People who like this also. This guy and this guy shared a link. That link was shared by actually a million other people, but it shows you only me and my friends who have shared links actually. So such kind of things happen behind the scenes. So that way, instead of running huge infrastructure on your data centers trying to process all this information, cloud actually makes you your life simple. The other thing that I can relate to from pure technology point of view, I was trying to kind of do a POC where I wanted to route my users to the nearest data center possible. Okay, so I wanted servers at different places so that the latency is very less, so that my customers are happy. Now I wanted to try out some open source software and see if it actually works or not. So I would need servers, one in US, one in Europe, and one in Asia Pac. Obviously I used AWS for this. So I would need this, and I would need it only for 3 hours, because I'm going to do a POC only for 3 hours. So if I had thought this, few years back, I never would have an access to a server in Europe or US in a minute. Okay, so I could conceive an idea and then validate it, within 2-3 minutes, do some kind of a POC for 2-3 hours, and when I'm done, I just give up all the resources that I used, and I just pay 80 cents, 90 cents for that. Now that's the kind of impact that cloud can have on your life.
Yeah.
My name is Ramesh. I'm not a techie, but my size is extra large. A small question is that who will answer all those 3 questions that are on the board?
Okay, we actually have to wrap up pretty fast. So I believe the first question has been answered. Right, we more or less covered the first question through the conversation. Good point. We're just about to go into the second one. If anyone has any other questions that you want to ask them specifically, you can probably do it after the session and talk to them one-to-one, because I believe we have one more session which is sort of a live relay which is going to happen after this. So like you said, let's dive into the second question. If you gentlemen can just turn back and just have a look at the second question there. And maybe rather than everyone answer it, just one or two people take a stab at it, that should be good enough, right? Otherwise, Balaji, thank you. We got some new jargon here. We've got the cloud at the bottom of the pyramid and stuff like that. Yeah. So can someone have a go at the second question?
Yes.
Because someone's actually taken the trouble to pen that down.
Right. So you have an S3 backed AMI, and you would like to convert that as an EBS backed AMI. I hope you guys know the difference between that. Whatever Simon said, S3 backed AMIs lose the state when the instance dies down, but EBS backed AMI would hold the state whatever modifications you did. So if you have an S3 backed AMI, you need to spawn up an instance out of it and then attach a new EBS volume to it, and then do a rsync from your root to the EBS and create an image out of the EBS, store it as a EBS backed AMI, and from then you can launch new instance out of it. So whoever asked it? Oh,
Jnanam.
okay, Jnanam. Yeah. That's the way you do it.
I think the other way is like just launch the S3 based one.
Can you just pass the mic to him?
If you're really looking at just doing this instead of doing this, you can do a EBS based AMI itself, right? And then I'm saying instead of doing the whole stuff, just launch an EBS based AMI. I'm sure you would use.
My use case is that we are already running an S3 backed AMI.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we have a release pattern in such a way that every month there is a release in our product.
Okay.
So whenever we release it, we want to take a AMI of that.
So I think now I get your problem. You're talking about upgrades of your
exactly.
right?
Because for every upgrade, I need to create an AMI right now.
No, I don't think that's the right way. Possibly in offline, Sam can help you out. We have an open source tool that you can use to do upgrades automatically and things like that. Whether it is an S3 based or an EBS based, just run one instance which can actually do the upgrades in an online mode. Okay, Sam can help you out on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Whose question is the last one?
Yes, it is needed.
It's a simple one, right?
It is a simple. Without virtualization, I don't think the cloud is not there.
Right. So with that, can I request anyone who has any questions that they really need answered to take it offline afterwards with anyone in the panel? I think they're going to be around for some time, because I believe they really need to start the next session.
Right,
so,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You want to introduce?
How many of you are aware of NoSQL databases? NoSQL database is like the normal relational database has this classic scalability problem, and to address in the cloud, a lot of things are at very high scales. So NoSQL database is a very great example of how database got tweaked to address the scalability. And Citrus Leaf is one such very well-designed scalable database, and interestingly, it is ACID. And I was kind of surprised that it is an ACID kind of database. So I got in touch with Srini and learned more about it. And I found it very, very interesting. And Srini is now going to demonstrate AWS, how this Citrus Leaf database is going to work well with the Amazon cluster.